I recently had a conversation with a friend, and um, my friend said something interesting um, about when Jesus speaks. When Jesus speaks his wisdom. And at one point, she said, "Well, I can't conjure that inspiration or wisdom up with my mind." And it's true. Um, the conscious mind cannot access the deep, still inner voice of the subconscious mind. And often your subconscious mind will speak as someone else. Like when we hear our subconscious, it seems like another person from outside of us is talking to us. And we will often attribute that voice to Jesus or the Holy Spirit. But it's really the voice of our soul, that still small voice from within. It's not something or someone disconnected from us. It's not someone separate from us, although it might appear like another voice is speaking from within us. It is your subconscious. So back to what she said, she can't conjure it up at will with her mind, and that's true. Because mind, the conscious mind, is what disconnects us from soul. The conscious mind is busy and chattering with daily problems, problem solving. And because life is filled with so many challenges, our conscious mind or our ego is always in the forefront, managing everything. When do we hear that still small voice? Usually when it's time to turn this conscious mind off. And this often happens just prior before going to sleep, or just prior before awakening in the morning, when you're washing dishes, when you take a shower, when you pull weeds, when you color in a coloring book, when you're painting. You are in the right side of your brain, in the right side of your mind, which is your feminine side, which is your creative side, which is your intuitive side, your emotional side, your nurturing side. And when the left brain, the logical problem solving brain, is not active because you're doing a artistic or creative project in the right mind, that is when you will hear this inner voice, the inspiration. It comes from the right side of your brain. That's also the reason why Jesus said in one of the passages, when the disciples were out fishing and they didn't catch anything all night long, trying to make it happen with their left brain, with their logical problem solving brain, he told them, cast your net to the right side of the boat. In other words, switch into the meditative side of spirit, and you will catch inspiration, you will catch wisdom. It wasn't a story about catching literal fish, it was a parable. You catch wisdom and intuition on the right side, with the right side of your brain, on the right side of the boat. And but the point I'm trying to make from this conversation is the awareness. My friend's awareness has this voice as a separate entity from herself. She calls it the Holy Spirit or Jesus, and completely dissociates from the voice, when in fact, like in my experience, I have recognized the voice to be part of me. It is a part of me, and it is me, and it's the higher self, it's the occulted self that operates in the unconscious dimension of us, in our subconscious. It's occulted, it's hidden from our conscious mind, and it only pops out when our conscious, busy left brain mind is shifted into neutral through play or some artistic creative activity. That is when you will hear the voice of God. And my friend, being in the position of holding that voice as a separate entity coming from a separate place, can leave one going through dry spells until you're waiting to hear that voice again, right? And in my experience, having recognized that the voice is me, I can pretty much turn it on at any time. Like when I go to work and I'm doing the creative, playful work of spinning around on my lawnmower, mowing the green grass, tantalized by the smell of the fresh green grass and the rain in the air and all that. It kicks me into my right brain and into my spirit brain, and I am always tapping into the spirit, always tapping into inspiration, always tapping into musings, just like I'm doing now, because these thoughts came to me while I was cutting the grass. So it's accessible at any time. We don't have to wait for Jesus to come around whenever Jesus decides it's time for another inspiration. That is too far removed. That creates too much of a separation that leaves our soul hungry and thirsty. And it's just not always, it's not the best way we can experience spirit connection or oneness. And so, yeah, and I'm not making this video to embarrass my friend. I know that this is a universal issue in people, and I'm just trying to explain that actually it's closer than you think. You don't have to wait for Jesus to inspire you as a person outside of yourself. You have it all within you. You can access it at any time and basically enter your bliss at any time, enter your heaven at any time. And there's something else Jesus had said in one of his sayings is, I have come to give you life and give it more abundantly. It's not that Jesus has the capacity to give it, but Jesus came to teach mankind how to access the abundant life, and it is by accessing the right side of your brain, the meditative, creative, playful side of the right brain, the spirit side, the Christ mind. The left mind is usually the ego mind. The right mind is the Christ mind, what's called the Christ mind, the feminine side. I know people will refer to Christ as a masculine, male spirit, but to me it's the feminine Christ, the feminine wisdom, Sophia. Um, and when we live more, um, actually, preferably if we can live balanced between the two, that'll be the ideal state. But for those who are predominantly in the left brain, if they can spend some time in the right brain, um, they can create the abundant life for themselves. They can create the heavenly bliss, the heaven on earth that it speaks of in the Lord's Prayer. Thy will be done, thy kingdom come, um, thy will be done in heaven, on earth as it is in heaven. So we can bring that here. We cannot wait for Jesus to bring heaven to earth. It's incumbent upon each one of us uh, to do that by following Jesus' teachings and then experiencing that Christed bliss life, that abundant life firsthand. It's ours to create. We have the capacity to create that because we were made in the image of God. And whatever God creates, we can create on a micro level, right? So it's very much up to us to tap into that connection, into that oneness within us, into the integrated self, the higher Christ mind, to achieve the abundant life of bliss.